call me out upon the water, the great unknown, where feet may fail. And there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep, my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you've never failed and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of your goodness. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of your goodness. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. So thank you for joining us this evening. We'd like to welcome you. So this is our music team. I'm Arina. This is Papik. And this is Jason. And we are here to sing for you. So I just would like to welcome you. I'd like to welcome our live stream audience tonight, our virtual folks. We're glad that you're here. If you would silence your cell phones, we would appreciate it. You're obviously welcome to post, take pictures, do that sort of thing, but as long as it's quiet, we'd appreciate that. Also, if you are interested in joining our community in any format or learning more information about our community, we do have some next step cards that are on the back of the pews in front of you, and you can fill those out and drop them in the offering baskets at the end. Also, let's see. So if you wouldn't mind standing up together and just turning and introducing yourself to someone around you. Start playing music. That's good. So you guys want to get ready for, yeah, you're good.
Hello, these are this week's announcements for Unity of Boulder. Unity Cinema presents What the Bleep Do We Know? A film by quantum physicist William Arndt. This film provides scientific answers to your deepest spiritual questions. It will be followed by a Q&A discussion with writer-producer William Arndt. It is Friday, October 18th at 6 p.m. and tickets are $20. Hope to see you there. Choir practice is beginning for our Christmas Eve productions Thursday, October 17th, and every week afterwards until Christmas at 6:30 p.m. This is a great way to get involved with your Unity community and meet new people and create more joy for everyone else in the holiday season. It will be led by Erina Groverland, and new members are always encouraged and welcome to join. Woohoo! That's right, folks. 5 years running, Boco Gold Best Place of Worship as voted by you and Boulder County. We want to thank everyone who came out and voted. And we're already working on year number 6 right now. Thank you very much. Yeah!
Finally, don't forget to check our church calendar for all of the ongoing groups, classes, and events that meet during the week. If you happen to have any further questions about these or any other Unity events, please visit the information table in the lobby after the service.
Thank you, and that's all the announcements for this week. Yeah!
So we'd like to ask you to sing with us on this song. Here we go. Notes are right. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You were always and always with me. Nice. Let's do that again. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always and always with me. Let's do it again. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always and always with me. Never a moment that you are far from my heart. You're always
So we just take a deep breath and we settle into this space, settling into that center as we go into an opening prayer. We're grateful that we've come together this day to share in this opportunity to grow, to learn, and to expand our awareness and our understanding, to question the world around us so that we challenge our minds to be more open, to be more understanding, to be more trusting, to have more faith, to simply be more aware. And here in Unity, we recognize it's such a blessing that we do get to question. We don't necessarily have to have the right and simple answer, but at least we get to question, which means we truly have freedom here to be ourselves, to think for ourselves, and to express who we are, which is our true divine nature, the Christ within. We're grateful for this opportunity and this presence. Amen.
Let's sing that again. I can
Feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always and always with me.
one more time. Really let us hear you.
I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always and always with me.
You guys sound so purty, especially you, Jason. Okay, so we are in a talk series based on this question: are we living in a simulated universe? The series was inspired by an article that someone did send me on this exact same concept, which is based on simulation theory, which is a real theory that scientists work on. Not all scientists, but a few scientists. And last week we discussed the foundations of this theory and how it relates to what I call the physical construct, this experience in the physical world. This week we are moving on to what I will call the mental construct, or the mental part of the simulation in which we are existing. So since this is the mental construct and we're looking at the mental simulation, there's going to be a lot of mental stuff involved, okay? We all okay with that? Okay, good. It should follow logically, but if you're saying where are all the Bible quotes and spiritual quotes, it's going to get pretty mental. So hold on to your seats because I have a lot of information I want to download into your brains and into your hearts and into your minds. And we're going to be flying along, so you just got to pay attention. And if you looked really confused, I'll take a breath and then I'll just keep going. So let's start off with our words of wisdom. From John Alston, he said, "If you don't control your mind, someone else will." Now let's find out why this statement is so true and vitally important. And we'll begin our journey here today by traveling back about 10 years ago. I was currently living in Las Vegas and working as a sound engineer at the MGM Grand Hotel. And at this time, I happened upon an article in Wired magazine. Is everyone familiar with Wired magazine? Okay, good. We're familiar with Wired magazine. This article grabbed my attention. It's not a magazine I normally read. It was probably sitting on the checkout line. I saw the headline. I said, I've got to read that. And it has grabbed my attention ever since then. I constantly think back to that article. So let's look at what this article was. It was entitled, "Placebos Are Getting More Effective. Drug makers are desperate to know why." And they had this image. It said, "Real, fake, both can cure depression." I saw that and said, I've got to read this article. So for those that may not know or are not familiar with a placebo, it is an inert substance. It is something like sugar or saline, something that your body really doesn't do anything with and doesn't recognize in any big way. And they put this inert substance into a pill, and they give it to some of the people in a medical study. All right? So if you go to a clinical trial, some of the people are getting these inert pills with basically nothing in them. This group of people is unaware they have been given this placebo pill, which in essence means they don't know that they have been given nothing in this trial. So they sign up for a trial, it might be for cancer, it might be for diabetes. As a part of this trial, they agree that there's a possibility that they are given nothing through the whole process. So why do researchers do this? Because of what is called the placebo effect, which refers to the mind's ability to heal the body when it thinks it has been given something that will heal the body. You understand what I'm saying? We know that the mind will heal the body just when it is given something that the mind thinks will heal the body. For example, they know that just having someone walk into a doctor's office and see a doctor's white coat and having that doctor pop a pill into your mouth, no matter what it is, it will improve your condition by a certain percentage. They have that calculated down to an exact percentage. Once you've seen the office, the coat, the pill, you've already improved by a certain percentage. Whether that pill actually is medicine or not, it could be an empty capsule, solely due to your mind's belief in the doctor and in the concept that medication can heal, your body will start healing. How many people knew that? I would hope in Unity most of us know that. So, any new medication that's going to be tested, that's going into a trial to be tested, it has to beat the placebo. Does that make sense? It has to beat this baseline of something that's doing nothing except triggering your mind to heal itself. So this substance they make has to at least beat that. It has to do better at that than healing people. And the Wired article is bringing to light that it is getting harder and harder to beat the placebo. Do you find that fascinating? My jaw hit the floor. They're making more complicated and fancier and more powerful medications, and yet the nothing pill is getting more powerful than those. It's having more of an effect than what they're creating in the lab. So new medications being tested were increasingly only performing as good as the placebo or less than the placebo, right? Those that were giving nothing were improving just as much as those that were given the medication. Or those that were given the medication were doing worse than the people that were given nothing. So my mind was like, this is amazing, this is awesome. And it was getting worse. The placebo was getting stronger and more difficult to beat. Which in essence means they were not healing people of their problems. And people would be better off being given nothing. So, shortly after reading this article, it just so happens that lo and behold, I show up to work. It was probably a few months later. And I had been assigned to work in a specific room at the MGM Grand. And we would just show up to work and they'd hand us, here's your room, here's a situation, go mix sound. It could be 20 people, it could be 5,000 people. And they'd say, just go do it, and you had to be ready. So, I was assigned to this room. There was about 30 people in this room. I was mixing sound in there, and it was a private meeting. And it was 30 of the top medical researchers in the country had come together. And what is the topic of discussion that they are going to talk about? Why has it become so hard to beat the placebo? So imagine me going, whoa. I'm in the room with the people that can't figure this problem out, that I just read this article about. I was blown away. So, usually when you mix a situation, you mix sound in a situation like that, and I sit in the back of the room with the entire thing, usually they come back and hand me a confidentiality agreement that I have to sign that anything they talked about I would not share. They did not give me one at this closed meeting, so here we go. I was blown away that they did not give me one, which was because it was the most fascinating thing I'd ever heard in my life. So they discussed how when you visit a doctor, every step of the process increases your healing by a certain percentage. And they charted it, and they knew as soon as you walk into that office, it's 1 or 2%. As soon as you see the white coat, it's another 2 or 3%. As soon as you're handed this pill, it jumps 15, 20, 30% in some people just when they're handed the pill. They had this whole thing mapped out by percentage. So when you step into the office, when you see the white coat, when the doctor writes a prescription, when you take the pill, each step triggers the mind to start healing the body based on your belief that each step brings you closer to healing. So, this was common understanding in the room. It was just a recap so they could get on the same page. No one there was blown away by this concept. And then the conversation switched towards the specific process they use for testing their drugs that they put to clinical trials. And then the presenter put up a chart, which I'm going to do my best to replicate because I didn't run up to the front of the room and hack into his computer and take his information. It was whatever I saw. So none of this is actually accurate by the number, but the concept I want to share with you. So they put up this chart. So they had a baseline. The white line represented the placebo. This is the average that most people improve just by thinking they're getting something. And then at the bottom was people's ages that they tested, from 10 to 90 or even beyond. So they charted the age of the people in the trial that were tested and how well they performed against the placebo. So they're trying to chart how well did people perform against the placebo here. They didn't say what the drug was, but it was a real drug. These were the real tests. They just didn't want to have people in the room, if it was their drug, get upset. So they didn't tell what drug it was. So they broke it down into categories of gender and race, because as I learned on that day, women and men respond differently to the exact same drugs and the same medications. I didn't know that. As do people of different race and different age. All respond differently to the same medication. So then the chart began to grow. So they plotted white males, and it was some successful, between 30 and 60, not really successful, 70 and 90, below that, not successful, but there was a range of success. And then they went on to white females, and well, it was kind of all over the place. Younger white females did better with it, and then it was kind of a mess towards the top of older white females that really did nothing for them. So then they added African Americans into it, male and female, and they plotted this, and it was just everybody sort of all over the map. Some people are doing good in different age ranges, some people are doing horrible. He went through this process for about 10 different ethnicities, races, male and female, to plot the entire thing, to show everyone the spectrum of all the people that were in the test and where they showed up and compared to the placebo, until the entire chart was basically just this colorful mess. It looked just like this, right? It was just this colorful mess. And then the presenter turned to the audience and posed a question to the group. And he said, now, is this drug a success? And should it be sent to market for doctors to prescribe to their patients? This was a real drug, likely one that was already on the market. These are the actual results he was showing. So there was a lot of debate in the room, a lot of hubbub going on in the room. Eventually, one of the researchers stood up, and this I remember so keenly. He stood up the edge of the corner table down in the end, and he's totally frustrated, and he said, I don't know how anything we create ever goes to market. They all look like this, he said. And we can never say with any certainty that it is a good product that will work for most people. There are just too many variables involved. And he was very frustrated that there's just so many variables in humanity involved to try to crack the code to say, this works for all people. They couldn't even say, this works for all white men. They could say, well, it works for some white men in certain ranges. So they're very frustrated because obviously the more people they can market to, the more profitable it is, more successful it is. So he's frustrated at the nearly infinite amount of variables and variations that our human bodies present in this situation. And they didn't even touch on the people of mixed race, right? You are adding a whole nother logarithmic scale of difficulty onto that. Let alone there's no talk of what people were eating during that thing, what they were thinking during that thing, what were they exposed to environmentally, all these factors that they knew and they talked about. They said, we're not even mapping all that. It just gets more chaotic and worse when we map all that. And then if they went through that, they mapped the side effects, which was that chart times 1,000 of chaos. So, what was the problem that they are actually facing? Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, in his book, Dynamics for Living, says, thought builds. Thought is the builder of the body. The body is moved by thought. Thought not only moves the external members of the body, but it controls the fluids flowing within the body. And as we know, we are all fluid. The body is a byproduct of the mind. And the mind is so complex and variable that it is nearly impossible to predict how it will react to anything. If you've ever interacted with other human beings, it's nearly impossible to predict how they're going to react to anything. And so we get to our topic of today, the mental construct. Are we living in a simulation created by our minds?
Do you ever think there might be another way? Just feel better about today. Oh no, if you ever wanna have to turn and go away, you might feel better about today. Yeah, I bet you haven't heard a word I've said. Yeah,
you had enough of all your trying. Just give up the state of mind you're in. If you
wanna be somebody else, if you're tired of fighting battles with yourself, if you wanna be somebody else, change your mind. Change your mind.
you ever danced in the rain or through the sun, just for shining for the sea? Oh no, take it all in the world to show, you know, you look much better when you glow.
What's your hurry anyway?
If you're tired of fighting battles with yourself,
Okay. So change your mind. You get the gist? Good. Are we living in a simulation created by our minds? So we have posed this question, and now we need to go on the journey to try to find an answer, which starts with an article about multiple personality disorder, or what is otherwise known as dissociative identity disorder. So this is an article that came up, and I've heard a lot of people talk about that the people with this unfortunate syndrome can actually have different body characteristics assigned to each personality. So I went searching, and this is the article I found. Probing the enigma of multiple personality. That's what they said. For more than a century, clinicians have occasionally reported isolated cases of dramatic biological changes in people with multiple personalities as they switch from one to another. These include the abrupt appearances and disappearance of rashes, welts, scars, and other tissue wounds, switches in handwriting and handedness, epilepsy, allergies, and color blindness, artistic talent, or even in knowledge of foreign languages. That could come in handy. So very large differences in IQ. So they would actually test the different personalities, different results in the IQ score. Different physical health, different gender identity, and in one poor woman, she was having multiple menstrual cycles per month because each personality was on a different cycle. I knew the women would have an unfortunate relation to that. So the article goes on as it does. I want you to reflect back on or look back on the placebo versus the medicine discussion we were having earlier. So think about that as we move forward in the article. Dr. Braun describes several instances in which different personalities in the same body responded differently to a given dose of the same medication. Just wrap your head around that for a second. An anticonvulsant prescribed for epilepsy that was given to a patient had no effect on the personalities except those under the age of 12. So we showed that chart, that some medicines were working for people that are older, not working on them for that was younger. Now we're talking within the same body, the mind that either identifies as someone older or someone younger is changing how the medicine reacts in their body. In another patient, 5 milligrams of diazepam, a tranquilizer, sedated one personality, while 100 milligrams had little effect on another personality. And yes, I recognize, if you have not yet, that this article is 30 years old. It was published in 1988. But I was reading a whole bunch of more current articles, and all of them were referring back to this one. So I thought, all right, well, I'll go back to the source and just use that one. So our state of mind, who we think we are, literally affects how our body interacts with the world. And it goes far beyond where most of us have probably thought about, our reactions, how we think about things, how we respond if we're angry or sad. No, the body's physical, chemical reaction to the world is shifting based on your state of mind and who you think you are, how you perceive your certain situation, how you respond, how you react, how we see, how we hear, how we feel. All of these are at the whim of who we think we are in that moment. Literally, the mind is determining our experience. So they go on to say, the effects found in these patients, they say, are graphic examples of the power of states of mind to regulate the body's biology. In a sense, Dr. Putnam said, there is a biological self that corresponds to the psychological self. As the psychological one shifts, so does the biological. Are you a believer yet in the power of the mind? Right? We're unfortunately talking about people that have been stricken with a horrifying disorder, but it is showing us the absolute power of the mind over the body. And we're starting to unfold the mental construct of the mental simulation of which we are trapped in. Because going back to our opening quote, if you don't control your mind, someone will control it for you. Whatever controls your mind controls the mental simulation of which you are currently living. For example, Much of the effectiveness of medication is how well the advertising for the medication itself convinces your mind that it will make your life better. It is programming your mind to make the product work better if and when you actually then choose to take the product. Think about that. It's not just advertising the product, it's a preemptive setup to have it work better if you actually go to take that product, because it's now convinced you that it's going to work. And we know the placebo effect is mostly and entirely about what you believe is going to make you better. If I can make you believe that this is going to make you better, and you hold it, your body is going to start getting better. They can prove it. And they're actually battling against that, which always has blown my mind. Why are we fighting the placebo? Why aren't we working to try to increase the power of the placebo? We recognize that it's already healing us without having to put any research into it whatsoever, and it's getting stronger somehow. We're responding more favorably to nothing as time goes on. What power lies in that we could start researching how do we increase that by giving people nothing to heal their body? But our faith and our belief is largely misplaced. And the Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, who I like to quite often quote, said, "You are sure to suffer disillusionment sooner or later if you put your whole trust in medicine rather than in the unlimited healing power of God." So let's do a little thought experiment. How many advertisements do you see trying to get you to have faith in some sort of medical solution? Just think about, you go throughout your day, you see billboards, newspaper ads, television. How many advertisements are trying to convince you to have faith in some sort of medical solution versus how many are simply there to remind you to have faith in the divine process unfolding before you? Obviously, there is money in programming. Programming that excites your mind to believe what the programmers want you to believe. To have faith in what the programmers want you to trust, to buy, what they want you to invest your time and energy into. The programming to have us believe and have faith and buy into only that which brings us more God into our lives is horribly underfunded. Have you recognized that? There's a funding issue. Media has taken much more control of our minds than I think any of us in this room would care to admit, or probably even realize. And that media has an agenda that is largely at odds with our well-being, which is why our collective well-being is in decline. We are receiving a program subconsciously throughout the entire day. We don't even realize how much of our lives is driven by someone else controlling our mind. So maybe we might be wondering now, who is in control of this simulation that our minds are creating for us to live in? Well, here's how you help discover that. Ask yourself a question. Who or what is God in your life? Because I've had people tell me, I put God first in my life, and I go, BS. In 5 minutes, I could prove you wrong, and I don't even know you. If God was first in your life, you wouldn't be having this conversation with me, first of all. You wouldn't be wasting your time having a conversation with me. You'd be seeking God 24/7, nonstop, and my conversation would be worthless to you. Who or what is God in your life? I teach a class where I help people work through this process. You have to eventually admit, it's not God. I have put so much mammon as the God of my life. I just need to figure out which one it is so I can start working on shifting my focus to a little bit more God, a little bit more God. So if you're not sure how to answer that question, think about this. Who or what gets most of your attention and energy, faith and focus when you get ill? When you fall into financial trouble? Or when you think about politics? What does your mind focus on when you are faced with serious issues? Is your mind focused on everything that is wrong? then you are co-creating a life of wrong things. Your mind might be inadvertently building a simulation of suffering for you to live in. What is your mind focused on and pointed towards? What have you chosen to be heading towards consciously or subconsciously? I was in the gym, and on the news, this article popped up, and I almost wanted just to check in my minister badge and go find a mountain to hide on. I don't have a minister badge if you're trying to find out where it is. A nation divided, U.S. politics taking physical, emotional toll on Americans. This is the short and skinny of it. Survey reveals about 2 in 5 Americans are stressed out by the political climate, and 1 in 5 say they're even losing sleep. Nearly a third of those surveyed feel views expressed on cable news channels are driving them crazy. Study author believes problem is akin to a public health crisis in this country. Right? We're talking about on par with diabetes and heart failure across the country. He's saying this is a public health crisis. So at first, it sounds like the same old U.S. political playing field that we always get into, and it's just sort of funny, and we can laugh it off. Listen to this. Quite a few of the numbers jump out at me, Smith elaborates, the one who did this study. 20% have damaged friendships because of political disagreements. 1 in 5 report fatigue, and it's a small portion. About 4% of the people in our sample said they have suicidal thoughts because of politics. That translates into 10 million adults. 10 million adults are considering suicide because of what's happening in politics. Are you kidding me in my face? This is absolutely bonkers. And when you're looking at a minister's mission is try to shift the consciousness of humanity, and you look at this, you go, what possible chance do I have? We are being manipulated by a political machine of anger, separation, and conflict. And who do you think benefits from all of that? Does the democratic system benefit from all of that? Does the United States benefit from all of that? Does your average voter benefit from all of that? No. Only those with an agenda of hatred benefit from that. And then we have people trumpeting this slogan. Real revolution starts at learning. If you're not angry, then you are not paying attention. But I say, if what you're learning is making you angry, then turn your attention to something else. If you honestly think the world needs more anger in it today, then go ahead and get angry and create that world of anger that you want to live in. Give the mind over to anger, and the mind will build you the perfect angry simulation where you have an endless supply of opportunities to get angry. That's the reality of it. What are we keeping in mind? What do we believe in? What do we focus on? What do we put our faith into? Yogananda again says, the mind first must be convinced that, though all man-made remedies are limited in their healing power, God's all-permeating, all-healing power is infinite. Notice he starts out with, the mind first must be convinced. If you haven't gotten the mind on board, forget it. The rest of it is such an uphill battle, you don't have a choice. Forget about the health of the body. If you haven't gotten the mind on board, your body cannot catch up. Forget about your abundance and prosperity. Forget about your relationships. Forget about your house and your car and your career and all that. If you can't get your mind on board, you don't stand a chance. Because your mind is running the show. So he says, first off, the mind first must be convinced. Yes, some of these healing remedies are going to help you, but if that's all you're invested in, you don't have a prayer. You've got to switch the consciousness over to focusing on something grander than the little peddling things we're creating with our little human minds. We need to heal the body. And the yogis and rishis of India talk about how we need a threefold healing process. So yes, we need to heal the body. That is the physical construct of the simulation we're living in. We need to heal the mind. That is the mental construct of what we are living in. And finally, we need to heal the soul, which is the spiritual construct that we are living in. So next week, we are going to look into the spiritual construct. And that is the truth as I experience it. We're going to go into an opportunity for silence now. An opportunity for internal reflection and peace.
In the still small voice, listen for an answer. It may be a whisper, sounding like a dream. In the still small voice, there will be an answer. It is the voice of God. Listen for the voice of God.
So we take a deep breath, allowing the body to still, closing the eyes if comfortable, relaxing the shoulders, settling into our seat, feeling supported. We know that there's every opportunity to worry, to be afraid, to get upset. But as we slowly become more aware of this illusion, of this simulation, of this ridiculous construct which we've chosen to be a part of, we recognize that fear, anger, worry are simply not real. They are emotions triggered by the unreal, because the mind has bought into something that it perceives as real. But what if I could get my mind to remember once again truth, unwavering truth, not the truth that people tell me, which be disproven years later, not the truth just for now, in a short time, but the absolute truth of peace, of stillness and joy, the truth of kindness, of empathy, of patience and faith. So I take a moment to become still, to tap into and to train the mind back towards what is true. And I'm grateful that there's always an opportunity to close my eyes, to breathe, to tap into this stillness, taking back control of my mind. And so it is. And namaste. So as we come back into this room, remember that this isn't a message that we don't do anything about what's happening in the world, or we stick our head in the sand. We become peaceful warriors, if you've heard that term. People that are fully educated on what's going on, but only to the amount that they can handle without getting angry. People that act and do something about the world's problems, but only in the way that does not make them or others angry. Finding peaceful solutions, finding ways to heal the consciousness without just creating more separation. So this is the giving and serving portion of our service. We remind you that this service is designed to ignite the spirit within you to do what comes naturally, which is to give of yourself, of your time, your talents, your treasures, your financial abundance. And if you believe that you're in a financial place of lack, recognize that that too is an illusion of the construct. We are an abundant nation. Abundance is all around us, and it is our duty to help this abundance flow through us, in and through us, not to go towards something, but to be a part of the flow of something. And so we have many ways for you to get on board. We have volunteer opportunities in this service and the 2 services tomorrow, of course, all week long. Then we have the many ways to give financially and be a part of that flow of abundance into this powerful message that we give every weekend through texting, through the app, through recurring donations. And if you're watching us via live stream, we invite you to join us in the process. So there's so many ways that we can get involved to be a part of this. And if you have cash or checks, of course, there's baskets available in the back to be a part of that. So the next part of our service is called a spotlight. Marilyn, if you want to start heading up here. This is where we highlight someone or something happening in our church or our community in this area that I think is very important that you should know about. And today we have the opportunity to have Marilyn DiCarlo come and share with us, and someone has taken my microphone away. This someone is Papik. So I've asked Marilyn just to come up here and share a little bit about her experience with Unity and then the group that she leads, which is the divorce support group.
Shad, everyone. I'm Marilyn, and I am the facilitator for the Unity of Boulder Divorce Support Group. We meet the 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month in the Unity room. And I was inspired to facilitate this divorce support group because my journey has involved learning to be a coach, learning to be a counselor, learning to understand sort of the trials and tribulations that we face when we have crises or challenges in our lives. And in my own experience, this church, this congregation, is so supportive of us in moving forward in a way that allows us to be authentic, to find that love within ourselves, to enjoy our lives in a new way from a new perspective that's really filled with light, that's filled with love, and that we can gain a sense of our own power, our own ability to create the life that we want. So I actually got all of that here from Unity. And I want to pass it on. This is my spiritual family, and I invite anyone who's going through separation, divorce, loss of a relationship to join us. Everyone's welcome. We have a wonderful group. People are extremely supportive. And, we get to the nitty-gritty. We share the emotional piece of the journey, but we also share where we're going and how we're going to get there, which is really encouraging to all of us. So, thanks, Shad.
Thank you. What? Is this the meditation?
We have a phenomenal benefit taking place next Sunday for the Taospe Crisis Center. That's the Native American Center in Denver. They're doing an entire entertainment and sales and crafts and things taking place right here at Unity next Sunday from 3 in the afternoon till 12 at night. Phenomenal entertaining bands, singers, storytellers. So that's a benefit for the Taospe Crisis Center. The tickets for that are $20. You can go online to Unity and get those tickets. We appreciate you doing that. And one very important announcement, there is no Wednesday meditation this week. The meditation service has been canceled because the church is completely rented out to another community group. So thank you for that. Thank you, Shad. Fantastic talk.
Yes. Yes, that's a very important community event. I'm glad we got that in there. I love Marilyn's one of those faces that goes so far back in my memory that I don't even know when it began. It's just imprinted in my memory from my youth of seeing her in the part of this experience for so long. It's just amazing that I came back and she's here, and it's just like a welcoming face to see again. Okay.
Put your makeup on, get your nails done, curl your hair, run the extra mile, keep it slim so they like you. Do they like you? Get your sexy on, don't be shy, girl, show it off. This is what you want to belong, so they like you. Do they like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 Get your shopping on at the mall, max your credit cards. You don't have to choose, buy it all, so they like you. Do they like you? Wait a second, why should you care what they think of you when you're all alone by yourself? Do you like you? Do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to bend until you break. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to bend until you break. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 Take your makeup off, let your hair down, take a breath, look into the mirror at yourself. Don't you like you?
So I just want to point it out, Steve came up and spoke about his group and Marilyn about her group. The groups is where the work actually gets done. A lot of people come up to me after talk and go, where was the applicable tools? What am I supposed to do during the week? How can I do this? I'm only supposed to spark you to start thinking. The group work during the week is where you actually evolve and grow and transform. So you've got to get involved in these groups. Divorce groups, so powerful. So many people have gone through that experience. It's so painful to go through. I have been through it. And I still have some energy coming up around it, so it might be at your group, Marilyn. We'll see about that. So that is where the growth happens. So get engaged with those groups. And don't forget, Wednesday meditation is canceled. And if you're watching us online, how can you get involved with Unity of Boulder? You can share this on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else and get the message out there to everyone around the world. And don't forget, tomorrow we have services at 9 a.m. and 11. And that's all we have, so let's get out of here in fellowship.